Hi guys, this video has like totally been requested, and trust me, if it was up to me I would not be doing this video, but as you guys know, you request stuff and then I make videos about it in the hope that it just helps somebody out. So basically I have been asked to talk about bleeding vaginas, and it's like I've already made one how to deal with period videos. I've made another video on how to insert a tampon and more period questions, and now I've been requested to do another one, and I have to say, like, they are definitely one of my most viewed videos in the sense of as a comparison to like all the videos I've made. The title of this one is going to be a little bit kind of on the embarrassing side, and it's probably going to raise quite a few eyebrows as to why I'm doing this, but I promise you it's been requested. So I'm going to kind of split this into 3 parts, and I'm hoping I'm going to get through my points quite quickly. So I'm going to be talking about how to deal with period pains, because I get them, we all get them, and there are a very, very tiny percentage of lucky individuals that don't suffer with this, but unfortunately I do, and these are sort of the things on how I deal with them. I'm also going to talk about how to deal with leakages, or how to prevent leakages, because again, like I said, it's happened to all of us at some point or another. And the last thing I want to talk about is generally how to deal with like period smells, and I know that sounds really disgusting and it's almost as bad as the tampon girl video, but I'm going to just do this in the most disgusting way that I possibly can talk about this. I still can't believe I'm making this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is dealing with periods. So I'm really sorry, I keep looking at my phone because I've got everything written down on here. So first thing I want to talk about is actually dealing with period pains. So basically you get period pains because your womb is like contracting, so it's almost like doing that whole squeezy thing. So effectively it's like having a baby, but it's like a million times less painful because you're not pushing anything through. So my main tips for like period pains are, number one, using a hot water bottle, because you just find like the heat just like helps relax the muscle, and it just makes the, I want to say contractions, but it is kind of your womb contracting, but that's why you get the pain. So I don't want to say like contracting because people are going to think they're having a baby, but if you apply heat to it, it just helps the muscle like to relax a little bit. And I promise you, holding like a hot water bottle on your stomach for like, or on your womb area, like, is just such a nice feeling, like, honestly. If you have like a boyfriend or someone nice enough to kindly massage your womb, that is also a really nice thing to have done. Someone just to apply their warm hand to like your womb area just feels like so nice. Also in Boots you can buy these like heat pads. They're like sticky on pads, and you just literally peel like the back off, and then you can stick it on your stomach, and as soon as you rip off the sticky bit at the back and place it on your womb, it just heats up, and it stays heated for like 8 hours. So you can wear it like under your underwear, stick it to your like womb, and then just like pull your pants up, and those work really, really well. It's like a hot water bottle attached to like your womb the whole day, and it actually feels really, really nice. They're quite expensive. I want to say it's like £8 for like 3 or 4 pads, but I tend to only get the pain on the first couple of days, and then I'm absolutely good to go. But I just tend to find the hot water bottle is the easiest method to like get rid of the pain. The other thing you can try is like exercising, because again, I spoke to my doctor about it, and she was like, look, if you do exercise, you'll just, I don't know what, I think you're like stretching out the womb or something, she said. I don't know, but I think apparently exercise and stuff is supposed to help with like the muscles. I'm so sorry about like my almost greasy hair that I was supposed to have washed today. Also, if you really need to, you can take like Nurofen and painkillers and Feminax and stuff like that. So all the medication that they say to use for like period pain. I don't really find Feminax does anything, but I do find Nurofen or normal paracetamol I think works really well. The other thing my doctor suggested was swimming, because again, just the warmth around like the womb area, the stretching that you're doing to like help with the muscles and stuff, that's another really good thing to do is like you're stretching the muscles, and I don't know how it works, but apparently exercise and swimming is supposed to be really good for like stretching out muscle. And also I've added on one on the end which just says chocolate, because you know chocolate makes us feel better at every single possible time in our lives. And also you can get prescription medication from the GP if you get really bad period pain. So those are my tips for dealing with the pain. So the hot water bottle is, and the heat pads are probably the thing that I do absolute most. I do tend to like massage my stomach a little bit, like, and that feels quite nice. Also I take a paracetamol if I need to, and really hot baths are like the best thing to do when you've got really bad period pain. You can't really prevent it because it's going to be there, but you can do things to kind of help relieve it, I think. Next thing is my tips for dealing with period leakages. So I know it's something people don't like to talk about because it's kind of gross, but as a girl, like, I'm really not bothered about speaking about stuff like this, because I just think if I'm helping somebody, then obviously it's worth it. I know it's disgusting, and I know nobody wants to ask their mum what happens if they leak on their pants at school or something, but honestly, like, I just think surely it's happened to everybody. Like, I think you've got to be like really quite lucky if it hasn't happened to you. So number one is obviously checking your pad and going to the toilet regularly. So if you can see there's just like a little bit of blood on there, then just like don't worry about it. But if you've had the pad in there for like 4 or 5 hours, you like really want to go and check that bad boy, because if it's like filling up and it's just not uncomfortable, like, you really just need to change it regularly. If you change it regularly, you're just less paranoid about it. Don't wear white trousers when you're on your period, because you are going to be like the most paranoid person in the world, and it's just not really a sensible idea. I have to say I have done the whole white trouser thing, and to be honest, because I wore a tampon and a pad, I had absolutely no issues. But I wouldn't recommend it on the basis that you're going to be really paranoid about it, and you're going to be really just constantly going to the toilet to like check. So just don't put yourself through it. Like, why would you do that? Just don't put yourself through it. Also, wear tight pants, or even pants like over the top of your pants if you're really paranoid. And this is what I used to do at school, because some lessons are just really long and you just don't have time, and your teacher's being a cow and they just don't let you go out. So what I have is like my normal pants, which I put my pad into, and then I used to wear these like tight, like short type things over the top, just so I knew everything was kind of snug in there. And it just used to make me feel a little bit better, apart from the fact that my arse would get really sweaty, and that's just disgusting. But, you know, if it stopped me leaking, then that was kind of what I used to do. This is all the stuff I used to do when I was younger, and I didn't know how to deal with like periods and stuff. But now I really don't think about it, because I just use a tampon and it's absolutely fine. The next thing you can try also is basically to use the pads with the wings. I would say, to be honest, in my opinion, they're the only pads you should use, because what tends to happen with the other ones is as you're walking they just get crumpled up together, and actually they don't actually cover your pants, and then you just end up with like this crumpled pad in your pants, and it's just not very nice. So I would always recommend using the pads with wings, because honestly they do protect you, like they do stop these things happening. Number 5 is learn about your flow as a rule. So as a rule, I would say day 1 and 2 are like my heaviest days, or like day 1 depending on what time it starts. So day 1 and 2 up to maybe 3 are like my heaviest days. 3 to 4 is kind of tailing off, and then 5 to 6 is really light. So that way, if you know days 1 and 2 are kind of heavier, then you just want to make sure you take extra pants to like school. You want to take extra tights and leggings and stuff just in case, and you want to keep checking, like go to the toilet and just check regularly. I also found that at the beginning I used to use tampons and pads, and I just found that just gave me that whole confidence that there wasn't going to be a big patch of blood on the back of my trousers. Also, if you're really paranoid, just keep a spare pair of pants with you, and also keep one of those like face flannels with you that you can just dampen and clean, like if it gets on your trousers and you're like really paranoid about it. Also, what I do is when I'm sleeping I use the really light tampons, because generally when you're lying down, I don't think because there's no gravity like kicking in, generally the flow is a little bit lighter when you're sleeping, and that's just what I tend to find. So when I'm sleeping overnight I always use like the really slim tampons, but just because that way I can be free and I can move around, and I don't need to worry about like stuff happening in my bed. If you're not confident with the tampon thing, I have done a whole other video on this, but if you're not confident with the tampon thing, then you can use these overnight pads, which are like these really long like nappy type pads, which, to be honest, I just find really uncomfortable, because when I'm on my period I always get really hot, and I always find myself like getting generally more, just my body is just generally warmer. So when I'm sleeping, I generally get a lot warmer when I'm on my period, and I don't want to be worrying about wearing a nappy while I'm sleeping. So I tend to use a tampon, a very light one, or like I said, before I use tampons I just use those really long, always do a really nice night one, and it's like in like a blue packet. So this is like the purple regular one. They have a blue one which is like the long one, which actually is basically like a nappy, but again gives you like really good protection. And the last thing I'll talk about is generally like talking about period smells. But I have been asked this a couple of times. It's not just me making stuff up. Like, I was asked about like how to deal with smells generally, and again I think there are just generally lots of tips that I would suggest doing. So generally the first thing is obviously changing your pad frequently if you're a pad user. I think with tampons you don't generally have as much issues with smells and stuff, but I would say changing your pads frequently is just a good idea. So every time you go to the toilet, I would say just change it anyway. Using vaginal deodorants and also wipes between, like, again, when you go to the toilet, just keeping like some of those little vaginal wipes or like baby wipe type things in your bag. So when you go to the toilet, if there's any, you know, mess around the edges, you can just completely wipe it up, and again then you're not going to be paranoid about smells and stuff. I would say shower every day, like in the morning, so that you're kind of fresh and clean and stuff. And if you're on your period, you might even want to shower at the end of the day again, because again it does get messy down there. I'm not going to lie, it does get messy. And it's just one of those things where you might feel like you need to shower an extra time, because I get warm, and like I said, my body is a lot warmer when I'm on my period, so I generally find I need to shower like maybe twice a day, sometimes in the evening again before I go to sleep. And I've put on as one of my points, you may get hotter, generally more sweaty, which I definitely do. Keep deodorants with you at school and wipes, because I tend to get a lot hotter, I would just get normal deodorant, spray it under my armpits, perfume, make sure I'm always smelling nice, and you can buy deodorants from down there, which again I did mention in my first period video that I ever did, so go back to that and watch it, my first two, if you want more information. Also, just to make yourself feel a little bit better about that time of the month, is using like scented body creams and scented body butters and stuff like that, just because again you just want to feel clean, and you're going to be paranoid about the smells and stuff like that. I often say, if you don't already shave down there, then I would suggest actually doing that, because again it's just less stuff for like the stuff to stick to. And I personally feel a lot cleaner down there when it's like tidy and like clean and stuff, and you know it's not going to be as messy. That's just my personal choice. I'm definitely not saying everybody has to go out and do this, but generally, like, at least as a minimal, like trimming the hair to make sure things are just tidier down there. Also change, like, this is going to sound gross again, but also changing your underwear like every single day, and maybe changing it even twice a day when you have your like 2 showers, like, you know, like your morning one, your evening one. Also, if you're a bit paranoid about just smells generally when you're going to someone else's bathroom or using someone else's bathroom, I always recommend using like those little smelly bags and things that you can put like your used towels and stuff in, like you use sanitary towels, because that just, you know, generally works quite well. But my biggest tip actually for just smelling down there is, number 1, changing your pads regularly, number 2, possibly having more than 1 shower a day, and number 3, using those wipes that you can just use. I mean, I would just say, if you can't get hold of like these specific vaginal wipes that have no like scent or anything to them, just use like normal baby wipes. I'm sorry, if they're good enough for a baby's arse, they're good enough for my arse. So I would say, like, just use those wipes to like clean up around the area, because it is going to be a little bit messy down there. And I'm really sorry to say, if there's any guys watching this, like, I'm really sorry that you had to like sit through this, but I would just say these are just kind of my tips on how to deal with stuff. Also, before I go, I did watch another video from a YouTuber that did a video on how to, I think it was natural methods to help relieve period cramps. I'm going to find out the name of the video exactly, and I'm going to put it in the link below, but it's just a person that I recently found on YouTube and I subscribed to, and the video was just really good on like natural methods of helping with period cramps. So I just thought that would probably help a lot of people as well, so I'm going to put that in the description below. And I think that is pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was useful in some way. If you have any more questions, any embarrassing things that you want me to talk about, like honestly I'm quite happy to like answer stuff. So I'll see you guys in the next video and love you lots.